In November 1987, Korean Air Flight 858 vanished over the Andaman Sea. 115 passengers and crew members were lost in the disaster. Investigators traced the explosion to this woman, Kim Hyon-hui, a North Korean operative who had successfully planted a timer bomb on the aircraft. Before her recruitment, Kim was a bright student in Pyongyang and a child actress who had appeared in the country's first Technicolor film. In 1980, the intelligence agency renamed her Okhwa, sending her to a military college for 7 years of grueling training. She mastered martial arts, infiltration tactics, and spent years learning Japanese from Yaiko Taguchi, one of many Japanese citizens abducted by the North to train their spies. By the time she finished her training, her civilian life had been systematically erased. She was a state-engineered weapon, prepared to kill her own compatriots on command. In 1987, Kim received Kim Jong-il's handwritten order to bomb a South Korean airliner. The goal was to destabilize the peninsula and disrupt the upcoming 1988 Seoul Olympics. To carry out the attack, she was paired with senior operative Kim Sung-il. They received fake Japanese identities, posing as a father and daughter named Shinichi and Mayumi Hachiya. They spent weeks traveling through Europe to legitimize their forged passports, establishing a movement pattern resembling a standard tourist itinerary. In Belgrade, they met other agents to receive their weapons, liquid explosives, and a timer disguised as a Panasonic radio. This exhaustive multi-continent preparation allowed them to board KAL 858 in Baghdad without raising a single red flag. Aboard the flight, the agents placed the radio in the overhead luggage rack and set the timer for 9 hours. During a layover in Abu Dhabi, Kim and her partner disembarked. Flight 858 took off again toward its final destination in Seoul, a destination it would never reach. The agents fled to Bahrain, but their clean getaway stalled at customs. Authorities became suspicious of their travel movements and realized their Japanese passports were sophisticated forgeries. Realizing the mission had failed, the two agents attempted to commit suicide as they were being questioned. Kim Sung-il bit into a cyanide-laced cigarette and died. Kim Hyon-hui tried to follow him, but a police officer snatched the cigarette from her mouth. By stopping her suicide, the officer preserved the only living evidence of the attack. Kim was bound, gagged, and flown to Seoul to face interrogation. For 8 days, Kim maintained her cover, claiming to be a Chinese orphan named Pai Chui-hui. Interrogators soon found a flaw. While she claimed to be from northern China, she only spoke Cantonese, a dialect used in the South. Rather than using standard interrogation, South Korean authorities began taking her out of her cell. They drove her through the streets of Seoul to show her the reality of the city. Kim had been indoctrinated to believe South Korea was a poverty-stricken wasteland under American occupation. Instead, she saw heavy traffic, neon-lit storefronts, and South Koreans on television openly criticizing their government. Witnessing the prosperity of the very people she was told to liberate shattered her years of state-mandated programming. Realizing the North's propaganda was a lie, she confessed her role in the bombing, admitting she had killed her own compatriots. In 1989, a South Korean court sentenced Kim to death for 115 counts of murder. But shortly after the sentence was handed down, President Roh Tae-woo issued a full pardon. The South Korean government characterized Kim as a brainwashed victim, arguing that the true criminal was the North Korean leadership that had groomed her since childhood. Kim remained in South Korea, marrying a former agent and starting a family. However, the regime in Pyongyang retaliated by arresting her family and sending them to labor camps. It is a stark geopolitical irony. The assassin was granted a second life by her enemies, while her own family was destroyed by the government she once served. While Kim Hyon-hui's defection and survival provided a window into the North's intelligence operations, the narrative focus often shifts away from the people on board Flight 858. Most of the 115 victims were South Korean construction workers returning home from projects in the Middle East. Their families continue to live with the consequences of a political attack that ultimately failed to stop the 1988 Olympics. In the end, the only lasting result of the mission was the loss of these 115 lives.